spent a lot of time walking the show floor at EVO 2024, but it didn't take me long to spot a brand new indie fighting game. So like a moth to the flame, I found my way to that station and tried to learn a little bit about Cooking Fist. I managed to steal a couple minutes from these developers and find out what exactly this game is all about. So I'm gonna let them cook.
My name is Alexander Theodore, and I am the programmer on Cooking Fist.
I'm Oscar. I'm doing the art.
It is a cooking fighting game. The fighting game where you win by cooking 3 meals before your opponent does. There's no health bars, and the primary objective is scrambling over ingredients. We wanted to make a game where you're trying to fight over things in the environment, going to a station, and then preparing food with fighting game inputs. I've been playing fighting games for a while, but I think one of the first ones that I really loved was Dive Kick, even though it's such a silly, comedy game. And I had no background in the FGC. I didn't get any of the references, but because it was so absurd and strange and novel, it got my attention, and I kept on playing it as a casual. And then later, I come back years later, I'm like, oh my god, this is like a Third Strike reference. That's a guy. I saw the guy from Dive Kick in real life. I mean, that's probably disrespectful to call Markman the guy from Dive Kick, but it's so cool that as a complete outsider to the FGC, this joke, essentially, this fun joke game, it's not a joke. It's a very great game in its own right. Got me into it, and I wanted to recreate some of that magic, make something that's fun for folks that maybe aren't super familiar with fighting games and just are intrigued by the novelty, and then when they come in, they become more interested and eventually develop a love for the entire genre because it's amazing. Gameplay-wise, the round starts off traditional fighter. You're both equidistant from the center. The difference is that you have stations along the map. These stations will generate orders of French fries, burgers, soup perhaps, and then as you attack the opponent, instead of losing health, they will drop some ingredients corresponding to button strength. And then once you accumulate enough ingredients, you can then create a recipe by moving to the corresponding station. Each recipe has some motions. I really wanted to match the motions to the food. So we use down for potatoes to chop them up into fries. We use a DP to flip the burger for the burger. And then you can just keep on going. I mean, we were joking about doing pretzel motions for actual pretzels. And it just, there's so much potential with the system. These ones are really just kind of a proof of concept. This game has really just been for me, it's been an engineering challenge. I made a fighting game engine from scratch, essentially, and we've been answering most of the questions how do we get the player not falling to the floor? How do we get the player picking up things and animating properly? Now we've moved on to the point of how do we make it more clear, more fun? I want to really work on UI transparency, making it more clear what the goal of the game is intuitively. I want to make the gameplay a little bit more kinetic because my background, I'm more of a grounded, a slower Street Fighter player. But I know a lot of people look at the style of the game and they expect something a little bit faster. So I think that disconnect, we should bridge that gap and make it closer to how people expect. Timeline-wise, we don't have a set release date per se, but I envision at least a year or maybe before we get a Steam release.
Definitely, we're gonna try and make the UI kind of more in line with the general look of the game that we're going for. So more in line with how the logo currently is, stuff like that. I would like to have the different UI bars differentiated by player color or by character. We might do some more work to make the different ingredients and foods that every character makes unique to them, to add a little more visual diversity. I think just getting all the stuff in there is going to be important, and I like the sketchier look. I don't need it to look super clean all the time. If it looks a little like I'm drawing it with a mouse, it looks like an MS Paint kind of, but I think that can look good and if it's done right. If you look at a game like Alien Hominid or something, it's a little bit of a sketchy art style, but it's very clean and it feels good to play and everything like that. We got a lot of people play yesterday. We got a ton of good feedback so far, written down. We've already made a bunch of tweaks to the build just since yesterday. So yeah, I think we've had a good showing here. Definitely glad we came and showed it off.
It's really interesting because I've been developing games as a hobby for a bit now, but this is really the first time just going out in public and getting a lot of strangers coming up and just say, hey, what do you think about this? It's been a very positive experience. I certainly feel that I have no qualms with saying it's like there's a lot of area in the design to improve. And I think getting a wide range of perspectives, seeing what people's expectations are so helpful. Because if you try to solve design is not engineering. You can't just anticipate the one perfect solution and then fix it. You need to see what people think intuitively and then design around that. And it's just, I don't have 1,000 people in my pocket that I can just pull at any time and say, oh, does this make sense to you? So this has been super helpful. All the feedback, positive and negative, has been amazing. Specifically the stuff where it's just people didn't expect something. People were surprised by it. People were confused. You just don't know when you make it because it's in your head. So I'm very thankful for all the feedback, and everyone's been so kind and so helpful. So it's just, to pair what Oscar just said, it's been great.
I want to say thanks to everyone who played the game at EVO this year, and keep an eye out for the next time we're doing a showing or demo or something. Thanks again.
So currently we have a Discord, but I think after this we're probably going to have to look into doing some more social media. Yeah, we're having a public development Discord. I guess this is the best. This is the best way to do it. But pull out your phones, I guess. Get your QR codes. But we do want to get a more more transparent about socials and what we're doing, because it's just the project has entered a new phase. We're showing it to folks, and we think folks deserve to have a little bit more insight into what we're doing instead of just being kind of hidden behind the shadows.
Awesome, thank you. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. This was amazing.
Thanks again to Alexander and Oscar for taking the time to talk to me about Cooking Fist. I'm really excited about this game. I think it's an interesting spin on the traditional fighting game formula, and I think it uses a really interesting win condition that a lot of other games don't incorporate, but it all serves the win condition in a very different way. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be safe out there, and I'll see you in the bracket.